Hi, I wanted to put together a little video to help everybody prepare for our canoe trip that we've got coming up. I want to talk about four things. I want to talk about what to bring. I want to talk about how to pack. I want to talk about what we need to carry our gear. And the last thing is some other items to bring. Some of this we covered in the canoe prep weekend that we did together, but it's not a bad idea to reinforce this and give you a chance to go maybe pick up a couple of things before we head out. Okay. When it comes to what to bring for a canoe camp, there's a lot of the things are the same as any other time, but anytime you have to carry your stuff or move your stuff a lot, you have to be considering the size and the weight of the stuff that you're bringing. Things like a lightweight sleeping bag are really handy. Ways to cut things down. I remember at the weekend I showed you that you don't need a big beach towel. You can get away with something this size to dry your body, and it saves a lot of space, and it's a lot easier to keep with you. You can get some nice microfiber towels as well, nice and small and light and thin, and they do a great job of drying you off. The other thing is maybe a pillow. Regular pillow takes up a lot of room. You can get either an inflatable type pillow, one that comes wrapped up and you can just self-inflate like your sleeping pad. You can just bring a pillowcase and stuff it full of clothes. It's something that we do regularly at camp anyway. Things that are the quick dry material. It's great, especially when we're on the water. You can rinse out something in the evening that you've worn during the day, hang it out to dry, and by the morning when you get up, it's you can put it on again and save the number of changes of clothes that way. Alright, we've got all our stuff together. We know what we're going to take with us to camp. We've got a couple of options when we go canoeing. Certainly we want to avoid the suitcase type thing or the garbage bag type thing. It doesn't work very well. An ideal thing is to get a backpack that has some decent pockets and a good storage space that we can open things up. It's great. Then we can stick all our little bags of things inside there that are waterproof, smaller bags inside, and it's great. It'll hold a lot of stuff. A few of the things that we can't fit inside we can strap to the outside. And the nice thing about a backpack is that even if we don't use it that much for carrying on this trip because we don't have very long portages, we can use it for backpacking trips in the future. The other option is a duffel bag, and the reason a duffel bag can work in this case is we can fit lots of things in. It's nice and long this way so we can see lots of things and find the things that we need. Once we zip it up, because we have to carry it short distances, we can use the straps and carry it this on our backs and get over to the across the portage because it's not very far. You don't want to go very far with this kind of thing because it's not really a great frame compared to a backpack, but it's not bad for short trips. You want to make sure though, if you're going to use this style, if you go with a duffel, is make sure the straps come all the way around so that they don't rip off, because then it's really useless. Okay. The other thing because what's nice about a duffel when you're canoeing is it sits right nicely in the bottom of the boat. It takes whatever shape you sit it in. So if you're setting it in your canoe, it settles down pretty nicely. The thing that you might find though is that if it's in the bottom of the boat, it soaks through. Some of the water that's sitting gets in the canoe. So what you might want to have is just before you load it up, put a ground sheet in the bottom and put everything on top of that, and that way any contact from the outside is not going to soak through onto the things that you've put inside. The thing that you have to do when you're doing canoe camping is pack a little bit differently, and the key is to be able to keep things dry. It's not just if your canoe overturns. We hope that never happens, but also if you're out in the middle of the open water and it starts to rain, everything gets wet fairly quickly. You can't stop and cover it up sometimes. Also, sometimes water gets in the bottom of the canoe and sloshes around and soaks in. So there's some things that that you really you want to keep dry. You don't have to keep everything in your pack completely dry. Things like your dishes, you don't have to put them in a dry bag. Maybe your sleeping pad, it doesn't have to go in a dry bag. Other things, though, like your change of clothes, your dryland shoes you want to keep dry, and your sleeping bag. One thing that's important about these, though, there's these vinyl ones, they're really good. The ones you see a lot of is this seal line. It's made of vinyl and they're tough, and so you can put those, hang those on the outside of your pack or strap them into the canoe, and they'll take a bit of abrasion and still be waterproof. They're great. But they're a little bit heavy, so sometimes you can get away, especially if you have everything contained inside another pack, you can get away with these nylon bags, and they're pretty decent as well. But they don't take as much abrasion as the other ones. Some of the things that maybe aren't as critical, I think I have a small one here, because you don't want, sometimes you've got a big bag like this. This is a 30 liter bag, and it's big. It'll take a lot of stuff, but you don't want to be digging into here and trying to find all of your clothes, okay, or have to get it out each time. So if you pack inside of one of these, you pack these sort of large Ziplocs. You can pack different things in there and then stick them in the dry bag, stick them all together. This one's quite big, it holds a lot of stuff. They always look huge, but you always lose a little bit of space. You cannot fill these right up to the top. And I'll show you a little bit here. Now, I talked about sleeping bag before. This is a lightweight sleeping bag, and it fits in a 10-liter dry bag. Things like clothes, you probably won't be able to fit them in that, but you might want to get something that's a 15 or 20-liter bag. I didn't bring the mid-size one here, but if I stuff this with all kinds of things, I put a bunch of things in here. I don't want to fill it too full, because if I don't get enough folds on this, it does not become waterproof, and if it's not waterproof, there's no point having a dry bag. We have to fold once, twice, 3 times. You notice there's quite a bit of air in here, and it feels full, but that's not rolled enough. Twice, 3 times, and the way that I know I've got it rolled enough is there's a D-ring usually on the strap, and the D-ring should be to the outside when you fold it in. So you go like that. That way, if I need to, I can hook that D-ring onto something. So what you'll have to do is try packing stuff in. Make sure you can get 4 rolls on that. Now, some dry bags are a little bit different. They've got an inner and an outer. They're really super waterproof. So you roll up the inside one, you close it, and then you roll up the outside one. Most of the stuff we're doing is not so rigorous that you need anything real expensive. With dry bags, sometimes what happens is they all look the same, especially if they're the same size. If you find you're doing that, you can either get some in different colors, or you can get some with a see-through a portion in it, and you can see everything that's in there, and it helps you sort out whose bag is whose, or which one is which of your own gear. And that, I think, is enough about dry bags. Another thing is we're going to be spending a lot of time in the canoe, sometimes longer stretches, and if the weather's not so good, if the wind is up a bit, we might want to get down low in our canoe and be kneeling for a while. It can be a comfortable position if your knees are used to it, but if they're not used to it, your knees can get sore. You might want to try and borrow some of those gardener's knee pads. They just strap on. Or you can get something else, like a piece of foam to kneel on. It could be there could be anything else that you think of, but something like that that's not going to slip around too much in the bottom of the boat. That would be good. The other thing, again, it was something that hopefully you had for the canoe camp, but just in case you didn't, there are some different ideas for water shoes. These water shoes, you can see they have the closed foot in there. Don't forget that sandals with an open toe, sometimes it's easier to float your canoe while you walk alongside it through a low area rather than portage, and we're never sure of the kind of rocks there, so you don't want to hurt yourself by having your toes exposed. All right, the last section that I need to talk about is some of the other things that you're going to need to bring. The most important thing, and the one that is something that you're going to need to have of your own, is a PFD. There's lots of different styles of PFDs out there. This style, it's like a neoprene type. These are a little bit heavier, but they tend to be a little bit warmer as well. So if you get wet, they actually help insulate a little bit, and they're nice for that. And it's easy to get a good fit with those. They cost a bit more. This style, or the kind where it's a nylon outer, they're nice. They're a lot lighter, a lot lighter to wear, and high visibility. That's great if you for some reason are on your own or just one boat out in the water. So people can see you better when you've got this on. The third kind, which I don't have with me, is what they call a paddler's PFD, and a lot of flotation is down low, a lot of free movement up top, so that as you're moving your arms and shoulders, there's more movement there. I happened to see them in Costco just this week. They had a supply in. I've never seen them there before, and they were around $40. So fairly competitive price compared to these two, but maybe these two might be these two are a great option too. The one thing I want to notice is on this one, the Fox 40 whistle. The whistle is something that you can attach, hopefully, to your PFD. You need a P-less whistle, one that doesn't have a little ball rolling around inside. The ones that have a ball inside, once they get wet, they stop working. So chances are the reason that you're going to need this is because you're in the water. So one that doesn't work when it's wet is probably not very, well, it's not good at all. So I want you to pick up a P-less whistle and attach it to your PFD. Okay, the next thing that to add to that about the PFDs is paddles. Paddles are going to be provided by the people that we're getting the canoes from, and but the concern is that the paddles may not be the length that's suited to you. So if you have a paddle already, just don't forget to check. Just grip on the end and near the throat here, and put it on your head, and your arms should be straight up and down like that. And if the one that you've chosen or that you think that is going to work, just check it out before you bring it to camp, and that'd be great.